Hey everybody, it is Saturday afternoon and we are going to do a water change on my 125 gallon New World tank. I don't really know what the rest of my day is going to be like, so I really want to get in here and get this water change done. I've been putting it off for several days. You can see how tea stained the water is. I have a lot of wood in this tank and it just leaches tannins like crazy, and the water gets really tea stained really quickly. So I don't know what the rest of my day is going to entail, but the first thing it's going to entail is pulling a whole lot of water out of this tank and refilling it. I'm not going to mess around with the gravel, probably not even going to mess around with getting in there and wiping the glass down or anything. I'm just going to pull a bunch of water out and refill it. So this is going to be a fairly simplistic video. We're just going to do very quick before and after, but I want to give you an idea just of how tea stained that water is. It's a brownish yellow color. I wouldn't have to go much further before we could start calling it a blackwater tank. Now, it might be a little ways away from a blackwater tank at this point, but you get the idea. So there you go. That's just a little look at your before. And there's your after. So if you're wondering why I was saying I wasn't even going to bother to wipe down the glass, despite the fact that I was going to do a very large water change and I had a bunch of time to kill while I was waiting for the tank to drain and fill back up, and you might be wondering why not just get in there and wipe down the glass. First of all, I did wipe down the glass. I got in here and spent a few minutes doing it. But first of all, it didn't really need it. The glass doesn't get a whole lot of light except on either end. The middle's so clogged up with shrubbery in there that you can't even really worry about getting in to wipe it, even if it did grow anything on it. And secondly is I was just draining the tank while I was in the other room tinkering around. I was simply sticking my head in here every few minutes just to make sure I didn't over drain the tank. And in case you're wondering how much I actually did drain the tank, I got in there and shot a little video while we were just starting to fill it back up. So here's a look at that. All right, we just reversed the flow and we are now filling the tank back up. But I wanted to give you a look at how much I actually removed, and if anybody's interested in seeing what the tank actually looks like without so much water in it. Pretty cruddy, but not as bad as you might think. That wood is absolutely gorgeous now that we've gone through that initial greening up process and all that's cleaned off of it. But alas, that wood is not going to stay in there too much longer. Anyway, that was just a quick look at how much water I actually drained out of the tank. One of my nearite snails is still alive and well. Suckerfish saying hello. And now we will get back to the video. So you can see I wasn't kidding when I said we did a really big water change. I got a lot of the water out of there, and as a result it's nice and clear and fairly clean again. If you're wondering how much of a nitrate reduction we had or how much the water chemistry shifted or whatever, we will talk about that, because I did indeed take a nitrate test before and after just out of curiosity, and that is the result. I know this is not really the ideal way of looking at that, but that gives you a better idea. The one on the right obviously is the before. It's, to my eye, it's red, and the one to the left is orange. So we're still pretty close to 40 parts per million, but we are definitely still in the orange, although when I look at it on the camera it's almost hard to tell the difference between the two of them. But trust me, this one here on the left is definitely in the territory of orange, and this is red. So I'd say we went from maybe 60 parts per million or something like that. Try to suck those down without knocking them over. So we probably went from like 60 parts per million down to 30 parts per million or something like that. Again, not super specific and doesn't really need to be. It's just to get a ballpark idea of what's going on in the tank. So we are under that magic special 40 parts per million number, or whatever that's worth. And more importantly to me is the tank is nice and bright and clear again. I like the tannins in the tank. I do like it to have that nice stained color, but within reason. It gets to be so stained sometimes you can barely even see in the tank, and the fish's colors don't really pop. and it's just time to get in there and really do a big water change. And I know this is a really nitrate rich tank, and doing a big water change like that from time to time is never going to be a bad idea. So that's about it. Like I said, this was going to be a pretty short one, but I did think of a couple of video ideas while I was doing this. One of them is going to be about water chemistry and why fish sometimes zoom around the tank and jump out of the water and stuff like that, like they're super excited after you've done a water change. And the other one is going to be about really heavily stocked tanks like this and the importance of actually measuring your nitrates and doing appropriate sized water changes so that you're always staying ahead of the nitrates and they don't ever start getting ahead of you in the long run. So we'll talk about that more in an upcoming video. So make sure you're subscribed and make sure you've got that little notification bell rang or rung or ringed or however you're supposed to say that, and that way you will be notified whenever I post a video. And I try to post at least one a day. Haven't missed one in quite a long time, so you'll get a video a day. All right, everybody, thanks for watching this one. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure you're subscribed, and don't forget, this one here is my 125 gallon New World tank.